What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the Avarice podcast, the Avarice trading channel on YouTube. Whichever platform you are using to consume this media, welcome in. Today we're going to do another movie commentary. I'm going to be watching I Know What You Did Last Summer, which came out in October of '97, just a couple months before Scream 2, to give you an idea of the era we're dealing with. Kind of a small revitalization of the horror genre and kind of the slasher movies in the mid to late 90s after Scream 1 comes out and kind of gets everybody reinterested. I'm not going to pretend that this is a classic or anything of the sort. Try to build it up to be some great thing. It's on Netflix. I wanted to do a commentary. I wasn't sure what to do. Fucking open the shit. There's I Know What You Did Last Summer staring me in the face. Let's do it. So I'm not going to be looking at this with the reverence that I looked at Scream, at least Scream 1 and the Halloween franchise with. So be forewarned, if you're like the ultimate I Know What You Did Last Summer fan, I might be talking some shit. So don't get your panties in a bunch or anything of that sort. You have every right to be upset, and you also have every right to reach down into the middle of the screen and click that pause button and close this shit, and don't let the door hit you in the way. You know what I mean. Don't let the door hit you in the vagina on the way out. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, I don't know exactly what's going to come of it. There's not necessarily a very interesting backstory that I'm aware of when it comes to this movie. It did spawn one sequel, so it was successful enough. But like I said before, it's just not gonna, it doesn't have the reverence, and it's not as iconic at all in comparison to some of the other horror franchises. But we're just gonna try something new here. So if you're unfamiliar, if you're new, uninitiated, I usually start off by making myself a cup of coffee here, then I sit down, I hit my bong, and we start the show from there. I'll cue you as to when to start the movie. Again, I'm watching it on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, you can just go on there and watch the same version, and for sure we'll be queued up. If you have a Blu-ray or something like that, who knows if they've mixed in any deleted scenes or unrated shit, and we could be a little bit off. Then again, if you're listening to this, you've probably seen this movie quite a few times. So you could just enjoy the audio if you want, and you'll be able to hear it slightly in the background as I'm watching it. So without further ado, I'm going to start the process of getting my coffee made. And if you want to load yourself a bowl, if you're in an area where that's allowed, then go ahead and do that. I'd be interested to know exactly when they green-lit the making of I Know What You Did Last Summer. It has to be post-Scream 1, because nobody was really making these kind of movies when Scream 1 came out. But it was released only essentially 10 months later. So if Scream was the inspiration for them to decide to move forward with this, I don't know if they already had a canned script or they came up with it on the fly. Again, I don't know a lot about the history of this like I did the other ones. If they did come out with this as a response to Scream, they came out with it quickly. Because again, Scream came out around Christmas, '96. So then 10 months later, you have I Know What You Did Last Summer coming out. So you've got to have it written, cast, you got to scout locations, you got to get all your ducks in a row, then you've got to film it, post-production and editing and all that, run your marketing plan, and release the shit. So if they did accomplish that in 10 months, they did a pretty good job, all things considered. One of the reasons that this is probably more in my mind is a horror movie than maybe other people is because it's a generational thing. I think a lot of these movies are generational things. So this is just right in the wheelhouse of when I started kind of getting interested in watching movies like this without being super terrified, and kind of looking at them from a different perspective, understanding that it's fake, and kind of getting more of a thrill out of it as opposed to just being scared shitless. So because of that, I Know What You Did Last Summer was a fairly big release in my childhood. And of course, I've explained on previous podcasts, but we were movie fiends in my house. We rented every movie. You know, I'd go down and raid the previously owned VHS section at the Hollywood Video or Video Update, whatever fucking branch of video rental store it was at the time. So I believe that I owned this. If I didn't own this, I know I owned the second one, which is kind of hilarious because the second one is a way worse movie. But we'll get into that down the road when I do commentary review on it. So, again, if you've listened before, you've heard me bitch about my Keurig, and it just dumped a bunch of coffee grounds into my coffee. So I am going to attempt to remove these fairly quickly and effectively without derailing this process too much. Alright, that's good enough, Devin. What, are you going to live forever? Alright. So, I'm going to waddle my ass over to the couch. Again, I Know What You Did Last Summer on Netflix. I'm going to turn out the lights, light a candle. That's just my movie mood. I can focus on what's going on much better when it's just darkness except for the screen. Alright, grab your source of fire, your vape pen, your fucking dab rig, whatever you want. Make sure you're poised to hit the pause button when you go through that coughing spell, because you don't want to cough through the beginning of the movie. I'll try. Hopefully I sound okay. I've got a little bit of a chest thing I can feel coming on. Today's just like the first day of it. So hopefully this hit doesn't kill me too much, but here we go. Anybody who's interested, I'm using a water pipe that's probably 18 inches, 20 inches tall. It is got one classic chamber, and then it comes up into another percolating chamber with a bunch of arms. It almost looks like an octopus. And I'm smoking Purple Punch. Tastes like candy. God bless Oregon. Okay. Hopefully your coughing spell is over. I handled that better than I thought, and I'm ready to start the flick. So here we go. We are... No. Damn it. Okay, I'm pushing play in 3, 2, 1, play. Sorry about that. You know how Netflix is when you like first click it and it just wants to start playing shit and noises and trailers or whatever, little clips of... That shit drives me nuts. Sometimes I'm scrolling through Netflix for like 15 minutes trying to find something to watch, and I get tired of some fucking wonky musical score playing every single time I switch to a new TV show or movie thumbnail. It's like, fucking A, man, my senses can't take it. Mandalay Entertainment. I'm not familiar. I do remember that tiger logo, though. What's my volume at? We've got Sarah Michelle Gellar in this, part of why this was so successful was probably the casting. Sarah Michelle Gellar was the hottest shit at the time, especially for like your core audience of older teenagers, younger adolescents. Hold on, pause. Okay, I'm back, guys. I'm sorry. I have the movie paused. It's at 1 minute and 13 seconds, right at the I Know What You Did Last Summer title screen. It's funny how life works. I'm literally 1 minute and 13 seconds into this movie. Just started recording. It's midnight. Everybody's supposed to be asleep. And my son walks out here because he pissed his bed. Like, Murphy's Law, right? It's just... Oh my god. Don't worry, give it a few minutes. My dog will come out here and she'll be acting like I've been gone for a week, even though I've been home all day, and she'll start wagging her tail and freaking out, looking for attention. Then she'll probably go over and whine at her food dish, and then she'll probably lose her bone or something under the couch and want that. It's just the way shit goes. You got to roll with the punches, especially when you're recording a podcast in your living room. Onward and upward, we move forward. So, again, I'm at 1 minute and 13 seconds. I Know What You Did Last Summer title screen. Pushing play. 3, 2, 1, play. I'm sorry about that, guys. That's just... At least I was able to pause it and resume and all that kind of stuff. Technology is a marvelous thing. So to you guys, it sounds like I didn't leave. I just said pause and then came back laughing. But I actually paused the recording, set my phone down, and went into my son's room and did a bunch of shit and came back and then resumed it. It's a weird... I got to alter time there. Shot out of sequence. Actually, it's in sequence. It's just cut. Bet you can't find the cut. It's hidden. Just like the cuts in Halloween 1's opening tracking scene. What is this song? Is this him or Rammstein? Music by John Debney. It's a rough last name to pronounce. The Debney. The B and the N next to each other. I don't like it. So they're going to start the movie off right away with a juke. Well, actually not. This is a very important thing, actually, to the storyline. Screenplay by Kevin Williamson. No fucking shit. For those that don't know, he wrote Scream 1, most of Scream 2, and Scream 4. So this is in between Scream 1 and Scream 2. He wrote this. So I bet... Because there was a bit of a bidding war over the script for Scream and who wants to make it. Or who wanted to make it. So I wonder if this Mandalay Entertainment lost out on the bid and just decided, well, fuck it, after we'll just pay him to write us a new script. Which Scream is one of those ideas. It's one of those once in a decade or so ideas that needs time to manifest. You have to have like a collection of cliches and prior movies and things to play off of for it to work and feel original like it did. You have to kind of let it permeate. So then to try to force him to come up with new stuff like that, like he's kind of already shot that wad. Anything he contributes to this that's original is going to be minor in comparison to what he has to bring over that he's already used, because it's not even a year later. I hope that made sense. It's just he can't... Sure, he can come at us with like reasonably fresh feeling modern feeling teen interactions and try to make it feel like a modern time, but it doesn't feel as novel or fresh as it did in Scream, because Scream already happened. So now it's hard to up that ante again. As I said, there's Sarah Michelle Gellar. My fucking God. Look at her. She... This small town has a lot of hot chicks in it. Most small towns don't have talent like this high of a percentage. So as I was kind of referring to before, beautiful cast. You got Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jennifer Love Huge Tits, Ryan Phillippe, Freddie Prinze Jr. This is just all sex appeal casting. And it worked. Not great acting, though. Not horrible. We'll get to it when we see it. She is fucking bonerific. Do they actually have to wear one-piece swimsuits in pageants like that? So, Jennifer Love Hewitt looks like any generic hot chick that you went to school with. The problem with that is she's not supposed to be that character in this movie. Sarah Michelle Gellar is the hot chick. And Jennifer Love Hewitt's supposed to be like kind of the conservative girl next door, dressed down type, I suppose. But she's cute as fuck. And then Freddie Prinze Jr. with like his other side of the tracks, I don't fit in with anybody, desperate to keep his girlfriend kind of thing. Look at him, he's fucking gorgeous. He could have any girl he wants. Any one of these people could have anybody else there that they want. We used to cast movies not really so much based on looks, except for characters where that was core to the character. So if you had a hot chick in a movie, of course you had to cast a hot chick. But character actors and people playing roles where it made more sense was more common back, in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Once we get into the late 80s, the 90s, we're just trying to throw cute people everywhere because the saying sex sells. God damn, what's her name? I forgot. That is a sister duo there, if I've ever seen one. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Oh, fuck, Big Bang Theory. We had no idea how your life was going to go from here. Is that Big Bang Theory? Yeah, it is, isn't it? This guy's a red herring. At least for half the movie. He's got this weird, pushy attitude. Like, he comes off as a creeper. I know I'm not a woman, but based off experience, you're going to get shot down almost every time you approach a girl like that. Unless you guys are already in a relationship and she's willing to put up with it, and it's kind of an anomaly. Ryan Phillippe's generic douchebag. He's supposed to be like the high school quarterback, but he's really small. He looks like he's 5'6" and maybe 140 pounds. Soaking wet. Like, he's a small guy. There's no way he's the high school quarterback. Freddie Prinze Jr. looks more like the high school quarterback than him. So, like, Freddie Prinze Jr. is supposed to be like the poor, like I said, other side of the tracks kind of kid. And, of course, his girlfriend is Jennifer Love Hewitt, who's the kind of more conservative. She's basically Sidney Prescott, but doesn't look like she's high school age at all. None of them do. And then Ryan Phillippe is the rich, generic asshole. And his girlfriend is Sarah Michelle Gellar, the hot chick. Did I fuck up her name? Sarah Michelle Gellar. This shipwreck's dope, but do they actually just leave shit like that on beaches? Don't they clean that up? Who's they? I don't know who's in charge of situations like that. They're telling the classic hook hand left on the car door story, or however it goes. You guys are all 35 years old. You've heard this story before. Even if they're legit high school kids, they're seniors, right? Who has not heard the bullshit bloody hand hook story by then? I don't think anybody's ever actually tried to tell it to me in person, but I've seen it on 15 movies. Damn, she's got some lips on her. Look at those. Ryan Phillippe, too. Bought it up. Fucking hairstyle Freddie Prinze Jr. has. It's like he spent a bunch of time in gel to make it look like he stuck his finger in an electrical socket while standing in a walk-in freezer. Yeah, right. That's what I mean. He's supposed to be the quarterback. Just change the position that he's supposed to play, or the sport. Make him a basketball player. Make him a soccer player. Make him a running back. But quarterback, that guy is not a fucking all state or whatever quarterback. And this talk about him going pro is delusional as hell. There's no way. That's something that probably slides by with most people, but I've been into sports my whole life. I guess it would be like almost like when you see when you see bullshit fight scenes in boxing movies where it's like, okay, I'm gonna wind up and punch you, and now you're gonna wind up and punch me, and there's not a flow. It's not realistic at all. They're almost like taking turns, or when you see somebody playing guitar in a movie and it's very obvious they don't know how to play guitar, they're not actually trying to play. That's how I feel when you cast Ryan Phillippe to be the star quarterback and they have a discussion about him playing pro football. Later, you have him beating the shit out of a heavy bag, and you make him a boxer. Rich people don't box, though, let's be honest. This is almost a recreation of Billy and Sydney from Scream. A different relationship dynamic, but he's kind of trying to push her towards the physical relationship part, and she's resistant to that, and he's kind of like this, I wouldn't say social pariah or outcast. He's not as sinister as Billy, but he just doesn't, it feels like the relationship's a bit forced, like they don't quite belong together. Did they actually just have sex? I don't remember that. Well, you're the one who's gonna be sleeping out in the wilderness then. If you're the guy who doesn't let anybody drive his car, you can't be the guy who gets so fucking drunk you can't drive. Take some responsibility for yourself, you rich little prick. In your baggy ass huge collared sweater. And fucking daddy's BMW. Oh, are you guys in love now? You're addicted to sex. Was that your first time? Ryan Phillippe plays a great asshole. I gotta give him that. It's just the fact that he's supposed to be a quarterback. Like, look at them sitting in the back seat. He looks the same size as Sarah Michelle Gellar. And he's just off the rails. This is what happens when you have too cushy of a life and everything's given to you. There's no risk, there's no excitement, so you start creating it in stupid fucking situations like this. And now here comes the moment. Turning point. I think we hit a boot! Where's the foot? That would fucking hurt. If he was out of that sunroof and somebody actually hit him, he'd be fucked up right now. Like, his back would be hurting, his neck, his face might be smashed. If that body really rolled up the car and over him like that. That damage, though. There's no damage in the front. The damage is over the edge on the hood, like he jumped in the air and plopped on the hood instead of actually it smashing into him. I understand why you would do that if it was for stuntman purposes, to make it safe. But when you're showing the front end of the car here like this, you couldn't make it look like he actually hit something? Or are you just trying to do minimal damage to the car? I guess if you just fuck the hood up, you replace the hood, car's back to good. But the kind of money they're dealing with when they're making these movies is absurd. Fixing a car is nothing. Did that say North Carolina? I never bothered to care where this was. Here's we see Freddie Prinze Jr.'s acting. He looks like a scared little kid. He looks like a kid that you told to go down in the basement. Man the fuck up, bro. You're supposed to be the poor other side of the tracks kid. Those kids are tougher. Excuse me. Again, I have a bit of a thing. I got a lot of a thing, but I have a bit of a cough. Them titties. See what I mean? You see him standing here. It's like, Jennifer Love Hewitt is hot as fuck. She's supposed to be like the plain Jane girl, or everybody's hot in this place? Except for that guy. Hamburger meat face. The dead guy looks like a fucking caveman or something. So easy a caveman could do it. So let's analyze this for a second. They just hit this guy with their car, right? So far, they're clearly the antagonists of the movie, right? We're supposed to be on their side. This is the character development we're getting. We're following their story. So, they're wanting us to be on their side. But they're about to do something that's pretty much unforgivable right here. They just hit this dude with their car by accident. They're having ridiculous dialogue about how they're all gonna fry for this, like it's black and white and there's no room for gray area in the American justice system. And they ultimately decide to dump the body in the water. And they know he's alive when they do it because he grabs her fucking crown off her head when he falls in. So this is a group of murderers that we're now supposed to root for the rest of the movie. It's a weird choice. Like, are we supposed to identify with this decision that they make right here? And is the whole audience supposed to be like, this is what we would do too? This is some heavy shit you're about to do right now. Okay, yeah, I agree, but they can do a blood alcohol test and find out that you weren't drinking. All four of you have the same story, that you were driving and it was an accident. You don't have to mention... Oh shit, we forgot about this part. This is essentially all just the backstory for how we get to him stalking them later. We need a reason for him stalking them, apparently. They didn't learn from Halloween, and that maybe no reason is better. So, this is all occurring just so we know why he's stalking them later, and so he can tease them with I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is the name of the movie, and kind of fucking corny. They really should have come up with a better name than that to me. See, so I told you that they're going to use him as a red herring. So he's really aggressive with them. He doesn't like this guy at all. See, he's just a prick. And he's the only person who's actually witnesses this scene here. So it's a natural dot to connect that maybe he decides to stalk them. But it's very obvious that it's the guy that they hit with the car. Why would it, like, a red herring in a movie where we see them hit a guy with a car and dump his body in the water, and we know he's alive when they dump him in the water, and you're still gonna throw red herrings at us? That slurping in the background is my dog drinking water, I told you. I can't win. Yeah, I can. This is just one play in a much larger game. Okay, Jesus, leave some for the fish. Fucking A, drinking water for 15 straight seconds like you're just running a half marathon. And then the dialogue about what, like, the crabs and fish eating him and stuff. You are already doing something extremely sinister and evil right now. You gotta own up to this shit. You're just compiling it. I guess once you figure out he's alive and he grabs the crown, though, what are you gonna do? You can't turn back. What, are you gonna fish him out and brush him off? We're sorry, buddy. Let's just take you to the hospital and get you checked out. You don't want to know anything. That's why you work at your sister's department store in the near future. She's one of those girls that's the hottest girl in a small pool of people and thinks she's going to move out to New York or LA, I don't remember which one it is, and become a model or an actress. Even though she's not working towards that in any way besides the fact she's naturally beautiful. And she's going to get out there, and there's going to be millions and millions of her already there and flocking in day by day. That just happens. You can be extremely special wherever we're deciding to draw the circumference or make the radius of the talent pool. But once you start making less slots available to a larger group of people, the competition gets dog eat dog quickly. It's that way with sports. You could be the best player on your youth soccer team, and when you get into high school, half of your team was the best player on their youth soccer team, and the rest of the team was the second best player on their youth soccer team. And then you get into college, every player on your college team was the best player at their high school. And then you get into the pros, if you do, God willing, you get into the pros, every player there was the best player on their college team. I mean, these are broad strokes. It's not every single one. It's not 100% accurate. But that's basically the way it goes. The cream constantly gets getting scooped off the top and then rises. I don't know if that was a good metaphor or not. But that's essentially the point. When you're in high school and there's a bunch of high schools, especially in a small town, you can be the hottest chick there. Not very easily, but pretty easily. And then you think that you're going to move to LA or New York and be something special. But there is literally millions of girls just like you all over the country with that same idea. So now you have to have some distinctive abilities, skills, features to get you through that crowd and onto the next level. Okay, now we're at the beginning of Scream 2 in college. Meeting up with Nev Campbell. I'm sorry, that's the wrong movie.
Yo, it's time to go.
And she's got a black roommate. kidding me? Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm just kind of taken aback by, like, if you were to make a bullet point of the essence of this scene compared to the opening of Scream 2, you'd have a lot more similarities than you would differences. So that's the same road right there. This is a year later. I didn't address that. It showed it on the screen. They're driving like a... Is that a Prelude? Or an Accord? I think that's an Accord. Probably like a late 80s, early 90s Accord. So at that point, it wasn't that old. That was like a 5-year-old car. There's a newspaper tube. I would have never noticed that if I didn't deliver newspapers, excuse me, for so long. But now that shit just stands out to you because if you guys don't know, I have some podcasts that aren't commentaries on my feed. One of them is called Paperboy, the next one's Delivered in the Snow, and I just kind of talk about my journey through delivering newspapers. But the short of it is that I essentially, my skill, what I'm best at, better than most people that I've encountered, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious, that's just the long and short of it. That's why there's a spot for me, is because I can do what they haven't found somebody else that'll do it. Anyway, I'm consistently doing routes when somebody doesn't show up or they don't so I'm doing stuff that's different all the time, that's new to me, on the fly, and in quantities that you generally can't do if you're not familiar with the route. So I'm trained to, or I'm at least tuned naturally or by training to find stuff like that newspaper tube and addresses. They just stick out to me. It's just it's in my wheelhouse. It's like, I used to build windows when I was younger, right when I was out of high school. And so then when you're outside having a cigarette or something, you start looking at how the windows are in this place. You know, is it laid in there smooth or even? Is the spacer showing? Did they glaze it right? All kinds of, are the weep holes upside down? My point is, sometimes you can get a little bit too deep into your little area of focus, and that becomes all you see, I guess. There's no stamp or return address, so somebody just put that in the mailbox. Excellent penmanship. She's the only one that's really fucked up by this, which is probably the proper reaction, right? Because like I was just saying before, they have just committed a murder. It may have been like accidental vehicular manslaughter, or he wasn't even actually dead. They might have been able to save him. And then reckless driving, I don't know what the charge could have been. Reckless endangerment, but it would have been far less in severity than what they actually did, which is is qualified as premeditated? No, because the killing wasn't actually. They murdered him though, so they took that accident and turned it into a willing attempt to murder someone. And if you truly let the weight of that hang on you and absorb what that means, you should be fucked up. Especially at that age, because that's kind of a weird emotional age anyway. You're just kind of getting your independence, figuring out who you are, figuring out how the world that you've grown up in and what you're used to with your parents and how shit goes in your house, how that's going to interact with how other people do stuff and how other people are used to running their shit. Because, you know, when you're a kid, especially a little kid, you just think everybody's house is like your house. That's kind of how people develop neuroses and psychological issues and become abusers even though they were abused, because you get this perception that whatever happens at your house is normal. I don't know where I went on that. Oh, so when you get to be like the end of high school, early college age, late teens, early 20s, you're just kind of figuring out who you actually are, separate from them, separate from the structure that they provide and the rules they want you to follow. What rules are you going to set for yourself? What structure do you want to set up so that you can live the way you want to live? What's true in the things that you've held, like the things that you have believed to be true when growing up there, etc. How much of that is actually legit, and how much of it were you observing incorrectly? That's all coming down on you at this age. So on top of that, to commit a murder and then go off to college, yeah, you'd probably be kind of depressed. It's probably the safest place she could have been, though. Go back to college. He only gets you when you're not at college. So that's the sister. This is her store, and Sarah Michelle Gellar works there now. Did you see that look they had the sister give? Like the sister's the killer? Ooh, red herring. I guess we were expected to believe that he died.
Has Barry seen this? You ever see Barry in school? It's a big campus. Are you sure he came back? That was crying the day.
How would the sister have known what they did?
Did you guys break up?
She's working the makeup counter at a department store smoking cigarettes. And he's a douchebag. And doesn't he look like a football player? No. Not a quarterback. Maybe a kicker. I'm not much bigger than he is, so I'm not hating on him as a person. I'm hating on the idea of casting him to be the star quarterback. Excuse me. You need to close the patio door before you start talking about murders you committed.
We can't just ignore it.
Come on, Julie. How do you know this is even related?
How could it not be related?
Yeah, well, only one murder comes.
Oh my god.
Shut the hell up! You didn't murder anyone.
He was still alive when we dumped him in the water. Do we have to?
Is that the ocean?
Accident. The guy was the
Where's the beach?
His name was David Egan.
Do you guys have waves there?
David Egan. He was found 3 years ago. His body was
I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking at this the way I looked at it the first time I watched it. But I was also
accidental drowning.
fucking 10 or 11 years old. So I didn't have the best, logic detection bullshit meter
Oh, Ray.
in the world. So maybe
Show this letter to him when I see.
this felt out like, oh my god, who is the killer? This is scary. Somebody knows. But for sure the rewatchability is not very good, because I'm just seeing through all of it.
Send a letter 1 year later.
You know that he's alive. He has to be. Who else would it be? She stopped putting makeup on now, and she's dressing a little bit lazier, but it's not that much of a drop.
You think?
Who else? He was there.
She was already kind of conservative dressed down. She looks pale though, and depressed, for sure. I'm gonna go in and kick his ass. Maybe. I'm gonna come up with a bunch of irrational threats and give him no context whatsoever. I'm gonna create an enemy for life.
Hey, Max. Listen, can we talk a sec?
So Ryan Phillippe thinks it's him.
This isn't private enough for you?
He plays a great douchebag. It's so weird that he's on that goofy ass show now. But at this, was he on Roseanne? Wasn't he the boyfriend on Roseanne? Yeah, so after Roseanne ended, he essentially did almost nothing. He was in this, he's in a couple other little things, and then he got on Big Bang Theory, and now he's this huge star, probably has a fucking $1 billion. But at this point in this movie, he didn't have a lot of resonance with the audience. When you saw him come on the screen, you were like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. It was just like, oh, they got this guy to play this. Okay, cool. I haven't seen him since Roseanne. Oh, he's Rusty in Christmas Vacation. That's right. Oh, gotta feed the hog. Got those bills to pay. Still got some homework to do.
I'll be there.
The most stylish fisherman in all the land. How much hair do you have?
You hope to be a fisherman, huh?
Needs to be cut a little bit. That's a lot of hair.
We'll work on that one over there. That's nice. Have a nice life, guys. I'm out.
Why were you on that boat if you work on the other boat? You're just hanging out on some other dude's boat?
Got a bit?
For you? I've got 5. God damn. You want to hang out with those two and have a couple cocktails. Woo! No, wrangle her back in. She doesn't need to go anywhere. We need to hang out. We can roll a joint. I'll buy you guys a bottle. We can get some Patron. I don't give a fuck.
Mary does, I don't know.
Well, you know how Max feels about you guys. But she's probably just screwing around. You don't have much else to do, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
That sounded a little bit rapey, huh? I didn't mean it that way. And I didn't mean get them a bottle, like us. Like we would get a bottle of Patron. It sounded like...
Become my father.
I thought you didn't know you did.
You work the boats. That's all I do know about him.
See, now she's suspecting him kind of like the Billy... They all kind of suspect him. It's a little...
I don't hold you responsible.
It's a recreation of Sydney and Billy in a different situation in a different place. But it's very close.
But I don't want to know you.
Obviously, he doesn't turn out to be the killer, because you couldn't go that obvious with it. Those were carpenter overalls. Why are you walking with your shoulders back like that? I think you're a fucking bodybuilder. What do they use those hooks for besides hitting ice in a dramatic way? Aren't you supposed to wear gloves, man? Is that boiling? There you go. Ooh, bum bum bum. Homie showed up to kill somebody and he didn't even have a weapon. He was gonna hope he would find one there. He was right. So him as a red herring ends right about now. So we know that the dude doing the killing is a fisherman. He's wearing a slicker. If you're paying attention, he was wearing rubber boots and those kind of pants when they hit him. Again, feeding into the Freddie Prinze Jr. maybe being the killer because he was just wearing those pants too when he was on that boat and they ran into him. That gym looks like a restaurant at the beach. That looked decent. It was shot weird. I'd like to see like if he was just, working his footwork and hitting the bag a little bit, how he looks, because I feel like he knows how to box, but that was shot stupid.
Hello?
Because it looked fucked up and it looked a little bit chunkery. It was like just not smooth. But the way he's throwing that kick up there and extended on his punches, it looked like he kind of knows what he's doing. So maybe they put him into too confined of a space, like the camera frame. He couldn't really move right. Something. Usually to make stuff look good in a movie, it has to be unrealistic as far as like punching and kicking and fight scenes. The way it actually plays out isn't nearly as entertaining.
Hello?
And dramatic. It doesn't take usually as much to end a fight. just made me think of the micro penis scene from the fucking Scary Movie. One thing that's cool about this movie is that the killer is interested in fucking with them. He's gonna play with them a little bit. But that's, again, the mind games thing is done in Scream. And he's communicating with them, but just not in the same fashion and not with as broad of terms. That's your whole gym. There's just some heavy bags and lockers.
Fucking jacket.
Poor guy.
Anybody else working out? Just you and me, pal.
Sign up for sparring partners. Gym workout. Nice sign. What is that? Southport Muscle. That's some excellent driving in reverse.
Max, you're fucking dead.
I don't think so, buddy. Oh, yep. Here you are. Hi, yeah. You were just out here drinking water 5 minutes ago, and then you went to sleep for 2 seconds, and now you're back out here acting like I just got home. Told you guys. Without fail. Like clockwork. So as I was kind of addressing just a minute ago, he fucks with him some. He has this prime moment to just fucking kill Ryan Phillippe. Maybe he kind of half-ass intended to with the car. Maybe he didn't care if he killed him or not. But he definitely doesn't finish the deal. He doesn't take it far enough to ensure that he's dead. He's just getting in his head and fucking with his mind a little bit. And he just hit him with his own car, which is the same car that was used to hit the killer. The slicker guy. Do they ever come up with a name for him? I can't fucking remember. So he wants real estate inside their minds. He wants them worried about him. It's not a surprise attack thing.
Julie.
That lime green spaghetti strap.
The 40th fucking time I couldn't see his face.
We have no choice here, okay? Somebody tried
He's going to
we have to go
get or break into Sarah Michelle Gellar's house later and cut all her hair off while she's asleep,
Who is
but not
I don't know.
kill her.
Guy in a slicker.
At least not then.
Since you bring it up,
We all know you're the red herring. Well, you.
it's on me.
Come on, guys, don't do this. This isn't getting us anywhere.
Maybe we should just come clean. No.
Don't fishermen like
Yeah, but
get dirty and wear hats and shit? He always looks so clean and primped.
Lisa, you're not either.
Barry, please, we could put an end to it and maybe salvage some small fraction of a life.
How do we do that? Huh? There was no accident.
I don't know if this was before or after Cruel Intentions, but Sarah Michelle Gellar and him are also in Cruel Intentions. They have the weird brother-sister wanting to fuck each other relationship. That movie's out of control. I mean, it's a good movie, but the twists and turns and places that one wants to go. From like an incestual, weird sexual kind of place. These people are all huge stars at this time, though. I believe Can't Hardly Wait had come out already with her. I might be mistaken on that. This is right in the era where Freddie Prinze Jr. was in a bunch of movies, and then he kind of faded out and stopped doing it. I know he did some writing for WWE, which seemed really weird. Like, how does that dot get connected? Didn't really make sense to me, but I'm sure he did great at it. It's just not a career path you expect for like some heartthrob actor to go into writing for WWE. So the Jennifer Love Hewitt character read these articles back a year ago about this fisherman being discovered in a net, and she's just assuming that that's the person that they dumped over.
Susie Willis died of drowning. She was trapped in a car after it
But
spun out of control in the reef.
he was actually the guy
Driver David Egan.
at the beginning of the movie
I remember that wreck 2 summers ago.
that was flipping the I love you,
We're gonna be married.
I don't know what you would call that, charm pennant
Wait a second.
thing.
I remember he had her name tattooed on his arm when I saw it.
So that guy was actually David Egan.
Survived by
But you'll notice when they were dragging
Egan of Marable
the dead body, the body they thought was dead, to the dock,
What do you think?
it showed that piece laying on the ground.
To lose.
So the killer dropped that on the ground as they were taking him to the dock. So this guy was a killer before they hit him with the car. He threw that guy off that cliff or something like that. But somehow, homeboy was up there drinking and sitting on the cliff with this thing, and it ended up in possession of the slicker guy.
I mean, we're just gonna ring the doorbell and say we killed your son and we're in the neighborhood, so.
And now they're going to meet the family of this David Egan guy because they think that that's who they killed, but they're incorrect in that assumption. What fucking kind of car is that? Is that a LeBaron? I only see one LeBaron, Freddy. Do you see 2 LeBarons? I only see 1 LeBaron. Do you see another LeBaron, Freddy? I only see 1 LeBaron here. There's not 2 LeBarons, there's only 1.
They could have done that already. Jodie Foster tried.
Listen to my hooves. This looks like every house in Newburgh, Oregon. Bigger and nicer yard, though. And the houses aren't actually this big, but just the general unkemptness, the disrepair look. Where you're like, man, this could be really nice if you just kept up on the paint and windows and things of that sort. But be filling his mind with all these college and football and things of that sort. And here is Ellen DeGeneres' ex-girlfriend.
Hi.
I can't remember if she was famous before they came out as a couple or not, but she definitely got a boost from it. She wasn't able to sustain it, but there were some Anne Heche days.
Phone's over there. Oh,
She's great in 6 Days and 7 Nights. That's one of my favorite kind of weird romantic adventure comedy movies. You know, it's good to watch with your wife.
Angela.
You can watch it with your parents or what, and it's funny. It's not too over the top. Nobody's gonna get upset by anything. Oh my God, there's a slicker. Maybe this petite lesbian woman is doing all this brutal killing.
My name is Missy Egan. Are you girls from Maribel?
Looks like the TV from The Shining almost. Is it plugged in?
I knew you looked familiar. What year? Class of 88. Your name, Egan. Sounds very familiar. Did you have a brother or something? I did, but he was younger than me.
You're creepy.
I'm 92, but he's dead. He died last July. I'm so
We're still... If this is your first time viewing the movie at this point, you don't know that David Egan isn't actually the guy. And I guess you don't know that the killer is the dude they dumped in the water. You should, but I guess you don't know for sure.
No, in Aurora because she
So at this moment, you're supposed to be suspicious of her being the killer, I guess, or something. If you really paid attention to those pictures they just showed, it was the guy from the very beginning sitting on the cliff.
I could,
And you could tell after they hit homeboy with the car, his face didn't look anything like that other dude's. He has a much more simian chimp-like face. That guy sitting on the cliff had a softer kind of baby face. He looks like the quarterback, Floyd, from Dazed and Confused. Yeah, see him?
He had a friend, right?
Nah, David didn't have any friends. Our family's not big on friends.
His name,
We just make biscuits and do our chores, and then Daddy comes around and tells us if we's good or not, and then if we's good, we get chocolate-covered cherries. We gotta make them, but we get chocolate-covered cherries, and then if we's bad, we get a switch.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't want to be bad. And if you is bad, you want to switch
Well, we were
to good.
sweet on each other for about 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, darling. What was you saying?
It didn't work out. You know, he never really said it, but I think it hurt him to be around me.
Is that Topaz?
Where's his old friend now?
Are you 1/2 of 1% Native American?
Do you remember his name?
Are you gonna use that on your applications?
Did he have a last name?
Do you want to start a casino?
Well, you know what? We should probably wait back.
Is your sweater made out of a towel
Let's stay. No, I don't want to miss.
or a bath mat?
We appreciate the phone.
No, wait. Where'd you get your bath mat sweater?
My door nowadays.
You want some eggs? We've got Tapatio.
But being in his house.
I suppose I could put some ham in them, but Daddy's gonna be upset.
Do you see?
Daddy says that the ham is for the man. He says that he has to lift heavy ass shit all day and that he's works his ass off so that we can have the finer things. So he gets the ham. But I will give some to you if you like. Don't you want the ham?
You forgot your cigarettes.
You kind of got the feeling that jump scare was coming because they just had this awkward interaction with her and now they're just camped out in her driveway in their car. Drive up the fucking street a little bit, out of sight. Don't you know how to creep and not creep? Jesus. I don't like drawing attention to myself. At least not... certain times drawing attention to yourself is okay. But specifically like when I'm out delivering papers. It's the middle of the night. People are already suspicious. So I don't really go out of my way to go like, hey, I'm over here. So like if I have to take a piss or something, I stop, I turn my lights off. I try to make sure that I'm in nobody's sight line from their house. I turn my radio down. I'm just gonna be invisible and do my thing here, and then I'm gonna get out. And nobody's gonna be the wiser, and nobody's gonna give a shit, and it's not gonna hurt anybody.
Maybe he blamed himself. Maybe he was sitting in the row waiting for us to hit.
So I got out that because after you leave this weird bitch's house and you think you killed her brother and all this shit, you can't just sit in the car out in front. You're already suspicious to her. She has no idea why you're there. You're asking her about her dead brother. Then you're just gonna camp out in the car and cry? You gotta get out of her sightline. Then you can turn the car off. You can load a bowl. You can calm down. You can go pop a squat in the woods and take a piss. Change your underwear if you need to. I don't know what you do. And then you can move along on your way. Maybe have a good cry in the car. I don't know, but don't do it right in front of her house. This is the image that you get of fathers in a lot of movies. They don't show you that he's been busy working all day or anything, and maybe this is the first chance he's had to sit down and relax since 5 in the morning. They just show it looking like he ignores everything. He should acknowledge her and say hi, probably. Movies that are meant to appeal to teens love to make dads look like assholes. I am a dad, so now I kind of see it more from like, let's have a little more honest representation of the like good aspects of dads. Let's just not make him all the guy who sits on the fucking couch and drinks alcohol. Plus, he has to be somewhat oblivious for this to happen and him to be completely unaware of it. If that was me sitting over in the chair watching TV and this dude just walked in the house, I would know. Especially because he has to walk by that opening there. He's in a large black slicker. Why did you pour the Diet Coke into a glass and then... I thought your belly button. Salt and pepper shakers. That was a pepper grinder. Fresh ground pepper. How does he know where he's going? Has he been planning this for a year? Did he... Why the year anniversary aspect? They were all split off in separate ways and he needed them to be back. She won that pageant or whatever, and she's got to not defend her crown, but kind of be there at this year's pageant to hand off the crown to the new winner. I wonder if he knows that, and he knows that they'll be... That is a sexy outfit right there. Fucking A. See, ladies, sometimes you just got to keep it simple, and it works. Just the hint that I might be able to see her butt cheek underneath the bottom of that shirt is all I need to stare at her for a few minutes. Why do you still live at home? How old are you? You run this store and you still live at home? Congratulations. I will not be there by 10. Oh, he hurt. He's in the closet. He hears it right now, if he didn't know.
You and I are just so pathetic.
Their relationship's kind of weird. Why does the older sister hate her so much? It's not like the older sister is ugly. The older sister probably got plenty of attention. Oh, is that what it is? The older sister's older, so the post-high school real world drop in attention and self-value happened to her first. And then she got to see the younger sister getting all that attention and shit. And she knew that eventually one day the other shoe was going to drop. And so now she's almost reveling in that fact and enjoying the fact that her sister is no longer the high school hot chick prom queen and the real world has done smacked her in the face. And not very many times in the ass. She probably could use a good ass smacking. Couldn't we all? Somebody spank me. So he hid in the closet and he just cut off her hair. Which would be fucked up because she's got that pageant today. But it's a little... Compared to getting hit by a car and your arm broken and hospitalized, it's not that bad. It's like a prank that would be borderline. Like, the prank probably went too far, but it's far from, like, an act of aggression or a threat upon one's life. And Tinte is bouncing there, talking a lot about the hotness of the chicks, but it can't be ignored. It's just, when you choose to cast only sexy people in every single role, then you get me thinking about how sexy the people are in every single scene. Can't help myself. I love slickers. I used to have an Uncle Jim who had me sit on his lap in inappropriate ways, and he always had a slicker, and he smelled like fish guts. So to this day, both of those things are sexual triggers for me. There's something making a bunch of noise in her. Oh, it's crabs. It might be Homeboy's dead body. Does he not fuck with Freddie Prinze Jr.? I can't... Is he trying to... Yeah, it's Big Bang Theory all filled up with crabs and shit. Oh, the smell of that. I was just drinking my coffee when I realized how bad that would smell, and I almost gagged. Whew, look at that beautiful vehicle. That thing will drive through a brick wall. Where are you running to? Okay, this part fucking bothers me. The amount of time it would take to get all that shit out of there. It's broad daylight in front of all these houses. What did he do with the body? And how did he clean up all the crab and shit? Like, this is fucking ludicrous. Move, bitch! Get out the way!
Where'd he go?
Excuse me again. Hairy ass arms from this scene.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. Barry, okay, why would he try to...
I like how Sarah Michelle Gellar's hair got cut. Now she's this broken woman.
Let's go back to the house.
Where's your jacket,
She
Barry?
she looks like a beatnik or something.
You see, he's got us now. Okay, this is exactly what he wants. We can't go to the police, not now. He's made sure of that. He's just out there and he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for?
It's the classic "what are you waiting for" scene. She's like in the middle of a residential street. There's houses around and stuff. You're acting crazy, drawing so much attention to yourself in a suspicious manner.
You're gonna die.
Hey, stop it! Phil, stop it!
So now he really thinks it's him.
You're fucking lying. He's lying.
Leave him alone, Barry. Get a grip.
No, wake up, Julie. He's behind this. How many fucked up fishermen are out there? Check for me too.
I got a letter. Oh shit. My bad. I just tried to set my tripod thing down and I set it on my PS4 controller and it fell over.
What are you talking about?
Drawbacks of it being dark in here sometimes.
What is it with you, Ray? You were dogging us from the start, weren't you? Always wanted to be our fuck you.
Stop it! Look, we have to sit together.
This is Freddie Prinze Jr.'s facial expressions just come off as so inauthentic to me. It feels like he's forcing it. More so than anybody else.
Okay, so if it's not Fisher Boy here.
Maybe it's because he's actually trying and everybody else is just acting normal, or he just comes off as overacted, like a,
How do you know that?
or it's so overacted. I wonder if they wanted him to do it, like, because we're coming off Scream, right? And it's written by the same guy as Scream, even, which I did not realize till I started watching it. So if we're gonna go with the kind of playing with the boyfriend being the killer, using it as a red herring, again, similar to Scream 1,
You could have easily lied to Missy. We did.
maybe as an added twist, you have Freddie Prinze Jr. overact the entire character so that the scenes where he's trying to defend himself don't play right. He seems like he's lying, but it's just because he's overacting the entire movie.
No, you need to be there. I don't want him to show up. Look, Helen, this could be.
Because I've seen other movies where he puts in better performances than this. It's not fucking Oscar-winning shit, but it's definitely better than this. This feels like it was a plan. Like they contrived this idea to have him be over the top. Oh man. It is time for un cigarro. Necesita un torta estata, porfa. Una hamburguesa con queso sin pepino. Papas. Oh, I forgot to turn the TV screen. I'm a douche. I'm a doucher, baby. So why don't you mount me? I just made that up on the spot. Probably wasn't very good, You take down a couple of pachyderms. Alrighty, so we're at the parade here. She's sitting up on the float. Homeboy is riding on the front to watch over her for security purposes. He's her bodyguard, bouncer. I am going to set this down and step outside for a second and take a piss with my cigarette so y'all can listen to the movie. I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Mary! Mary! Over there!
Alright, and we're back. Sorry about that. That coffee hits you. It's usually about halfway through. I don't think I've ever made it through a whole commentary podcast without having to take a leak. Enough with that. It's fucking cold here. The wind chill, it's like 15 degrees outside right now. Trying to smoke a cigarette through a crack in my patio door without dying. You done drove back out to this psychopath's house? Now they're gonna go real hard with making this girl look crazy. I believe. I think she comes out with some kind of like fucking axe or machete in a real threatening manner. It's like telling her to get the fuck out of there. Is that a turkey? Pa out here just hanging turkeys. Be right there, dear, just stuffing towels under doors. You know, you just can't insulate well enough. You know how much air conditioning or heat is lost under the crack in your doors? You just stuff towels under there. Surprise! I gotta go, we got cows.
Missy, do you remember me from the other day? You know, car trouble? What are you doing here?
That's like a real backwoods, like fucking wild, wonderful whites of West Virginia style bitch right there. I would not need to interact with her more than once. One, when your mind's this fucked up, you're probably gonna see this dude in places where he's not actually. Just because your brain is so aware of the potential threat that you're gonna perceive it even when it's not there. It's gonna connect those dots for you. So I don't know how much of her thinking she's seeing him is real or not. It seems a little bit unbelievable that he's like skimming from street level to rooftop and shit like that.
What's this all about? It's to explain, but it has to do with your brother and last year. What about it?
So Anne Heche thinks that her brother committed suicide. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. They haven't gotten to that part in the conversation, but they're about to have a little interaction here
Yeah, here.
about it.
You've been up here to die that night. See, the whole town blamed him for her death. Blamed himself. How do you
So he was up there drinking and prepared to jump off the cliff, I guess. But he didn't jump off the cliff. So, or if he did, he left that pendant behind and the other guy found it. I don't really know how that would have happened. And that stretch of road was exactly where the guy was sitting on the cliff. So I think that the slicker threw homeboy off that cliff and took his little pendant. Didn't seem like something of particularly valuable. I don't know what reason he had to kill that guy, but it seems like he did.
I saw him, I was there, and whoever.
It definitely was not him. That's part of the After they hit the guy with the car, he had some blood on his face, but you could still kind of see what he looked like. You could see the structure of his face, and he did not look anything like this girl's brother. And he looked much older. Well, the weather outside is weather. So she just realized it wasn't the brother because he didn't have any tattoos. Dun dun dun! We basically already knew that, right? You're a smart audience. You're informed. You can connect the dots. You know what it is. You're hip to the game. You're laced, bro. So this has driven them together. They were at odds with each other, and now the imminent threat has resulted in them kind of mending the fences on their relationship and feeling like they don't really have anybody but each other. I used the incorrect method to shut off my lights. Look at me, being an asshole. I like that dress. So now one of the more famous remade scenes from fucking Scary Movie. She's up there doing her performance with all the lights in her face. He's watching from the balcony or the mezzanine. I don't know what that's called. And I don't even know if I know what a mezzanine is. I should probably Google that shit before I just say it. And she's gonna watch him get killed. Which is... they had a right to make fun of it in Scary Movie because this is a room full of people and nobody looks back there and sees anything. Is she really realizing how absurd this all is as she's watching it? See how much bigger that guy is than him? Okay, I didn't remember exactly how this goes. She's not singing or performing. She starts running into the... But they're all just trying to stop her instead of turning around and looking up or seeing... This is like a lot of people for nobody to see anything.
What's the problem?
Help him, he's gonna kill him!
Who's killing who?
Who is he? There's multiple he's in your sentence. You gotta use proper nouns. I'm guilty of that sometimes. Start talking about a scene in a movie and it's when he killed him and her. Those are newspaper bundles. They look like it at least. No, they're not. They're film canisters. And he got the whole body out of there. There's no blood anywhere. Give me a fucking break.
I gotta tell you, this is really not my idea of fun.
This,
Fisherman!
for this to be the same guy who wrote Scream 1, it's hard to believe almost because this is so much cornier and generic. Solid investigating job, Columbo. We've all seen Dexter by this point. I'm sure you have. We know about blood splatter. If he was slinging that fucking hook into Homeboy's chest, there'd be blood on the walls, the ceiling, the floor, everywhere. Not just that railing in the little spot. And that cop did he didn't even do a half-ass job of looking. He did a quarter-ass job. It was like a tenth of an ass. It was like when a girl's wearing your dress shirt and she walks by and you can just see the little tiny bottom portion of her butt cheek as she walks by. That 10%. That's how much of an ass he put into searching the upstairs area.
Scissors, asshole. Look, okay, I know I sound delusional, but it's true.
I can see why the cop wouldn't believe her, because he doesn't know the backstory. He just thinks that all out of the blue, this girl thinks somebody's tormenting her. Okay, you should. You're a cop, dude. You could just drive around that or take it down. It's not like the parade is currently going on. Okay. Fucking Matthew Lillard. He actually does that in 2 movies, I realized. I always repeated it from Summer Catch with when Miles is talking about people's asses. And he's like, Van Leemer, big can, huge can on that guy. And he goes, there's nothing sexual about what I'm saying, all right? And Matthew Lillard looks at him and goes, okay. But then he also says it in Scream when Randy is talking about Billy being the killer and Sidney's father being the red herring, I think. Or it might be when he's talking about him having a chance with Sidney. But he goes, okay. They make cops just so incompetent in these movies. They're like less competent than regular people, and that's not going to be the case. And they're never like weary enough of the issue. Guy in a slicker looking over his head like that, and he doesn't respond verbally to you at all. They came up with a trademark as far as, not a trademark, kind of a calling card, a distinct murder weapon with that hook. That was a unique element. It wasn't just another butcher knife or another axe. It was this, I don't know what to call it, but that fucking hook. I did not catch what she just looked up there because I was talking. Decent walk too, the shadows, but the pursuit scenes, this is a lot like a Michael Myers chase right here. What time is it supposed to be? Her sister's in the store still? And obviously her sister isn't the killer, because there she is. So we've basically... The Slicker and Freddie Prinze Jr. haven't been in the same place at the same time yet. Is that true? They're still trying to play that angle? Shivers. That was like very Halloween, like Halloween 1. Tommy, open the door, Tommy! And then she finally gets in and it's like, oh no, where'd he go? And he got in through an alternate opening. With the quickness, too. He was familiar with that layout. He knew exactly which back door it was. This is like the music your wife puts on when she's gonna try to come up and have sexy time with you. Is that a mahi-mahi? And set it free, Mahima. Free, Mahima, if you will.
Elsa?
Do you have to cover that shit with plastic every single day? That's a good shot. That's fucking... I don't mind that at all. It's unique. I wonder what he's got it hooked through, though, because I see him... I don't know what kind of tensile strength human skin has. It's not good. And that girl weighs at least 100 pounds. She's tall. She's probably like $115, $120. So to carry her whole body weight with that hooked through, I feel like you'd have to get some like good rib action or something in there to make it really support the weight. It'd be hard. Great idea nonetheless. And if you want to go all logic police on this movie, you're going to have a heyday. So some of it you just kind of have to accept for what it is. A little bit of a thrill ride. Oh shit, good idea, dude. Fuck, that was that was a quick move. That was like a George St. Pierre takedown. You didn't see that one coming at all. Her reaction though, because I saw him on the initial look, I'd have been freaked the fuck out and running and just stared at him. Yeah, kind of hiding the body, kind of not. Again, the foot pursuit and the chase around. Pretty cliche, common thing from scary movies. Feels very Michael Myers-like. Feels like they're trying to capture something, some essence of the Michael Myers pursuit feel. And how he's walking, but he always seems to catch you, and if there's a way in, he'll find it. Of course, we're dealing with somebody that is 100% human. This isn't the personification of evil. This isn't the shape, the blackest eyes. This is just a dude, at least as far as we know. How easy is it to maneuver in those outfits? It seems like they'd be big and fucking clunky, and the way they drape on you would be heavy. Wouldn't be what I would want to murder somebody in. I don't have one of those in my closet. I'd say you've got a 10% chance that something just rammed itself up your butt, and you've got a 99% chance you just ruined your dress. Belly button games are on point in this. Jennifer Love Hewitt has a beautiful belly button. She running without shoes on? That'd be better than running in heels, but it'd tear your fucking feet up. Yeah, she is running without shoes on. That looks like kind of dirt sand right now, which would be alright. You want to stay away from stuff that people can hide behind. You want to get into an open area. You're gonna get got. This is not good. Run, bitch! Run! Scream. Let somebody know something's going on. Draw some attention to yourself. Stop. That's a good idea. Choke point. You need a choke point. See, how did he appear there? He would have had to come from the other side where all the people are, or he was hiding behind the tires at the very end of the alley. He's not superhuman. I don't remember exactly how the ending goes, but I'm pretty sure he dies. And then the next movie, the killer is supposed to be his son? So we get pretty stupid with this pretty quick. I mean, we're borderline there in this one already, but the sequel just... no thanks. I will watch it and do a commentary and a review on it, but I believe it's Jack Black is in that as a fucking Rasta dude with dreads, the pothead, and you got Brandy putting shoes in the dryer, and Freddie Prinze Jr. still working on a fishing boat. There you go. You know, so are we supposed to be operating, or at least are they under the assumption that he was so fucked up when you put him in the water that he wouldn't have been able to get himself to safety? Like he would be incapable of swimming, floating, maneuvering, anything? Because he reached up and grabbed Sarah Michelle Gellar's crown quickly and easily. Oh shit. So he went and talked to the girl too, to Anne Heche, and he used the name of his boat as an alias She heard about that, and now she thinks he's the killer. Oh! See, there's homeboy not in his slicker. This is the dude. He's totally got the facial structure. And it's pretty obvious. I don't know. Did they really think that we thought that Freddie Prinze Jr. was the killer? I guess there's not inherently any reason for them not to go there. Except for the fact that Scream just did. And what's even goofier is Scream 2 wanted to go that direction too. Derek and Haley were supposed to be the killers in the original Scream 2. The boyfriend and the black roommate. He's taking these pictures. What? See, that it all gets a little unbelievable, especially like the angles the pictures are from. Was he way out in the water taking pictures? See, now that you see this guy's face, that's very obviously the face of the guy that they hit with the car. And there's the pennant. He climbed out of the water and found it by the dock. So he keeps souvenirs from people he murders, maybe?
You should be out having fun. Drinking. Partying. Running people over. Getting away with murder. Things like that.
Wasn't murder, bro. You lived. I don't think you know what murder means.
Good. See, you've been doing your homework too.
So was he supposed to be trying to frame her boyfriend? And why doesn't he care about the boyfriend? He just left him there, and now he's going to take her out to sea? I know for the story, you have to have Freddie Prinze Jr. alive to come out and save her. But from the killer's perspective, why did he just knock him out and then leave him there like that? Because when he wakes up, he's going to be fully aware that something's up. You're not going to have any element of surprise. It's a weird choice. That Yamaha 25 is not packing up a lot of power, buddy. Then again, I have no concept of how much power an engine on a boat like this one has, or how fast they can go. I literally have no fucking clue. I think they even measured in knots, and I don't even know what a knot is. Like, if you told me that this boat is going 15 miles an hour, I would have to believe you. And if you told me it's going 40 miles an hour, I would have to believe you. I have no clue how fast these fishing boats can go. It doesn't seem like once it gets a full head of steam going, that little bullshit fishing boat with a 25 Yamaha is going to be able to catch up to it. Welcome to the Canadian Tuxedo Shop. You can hang the clothes you want to try on this hook. We have denim, and more denim. We have all sorts of colors available, from light, medium to dark, blue, denim, denim wedding ring, denim contact lenses, denim baseball cap, denim hair extensions, denim earrings, denim mouthpiece, denim belt buckle, denim shoelaces. We even have a denim dream catcher for you to hang from your rearview mirror. Do you know anything about boats, or are you just down in this generic engine room from Captain Ron? See, you picked up a long weapon. He's using it somewhat correctly, though. He was doing the short jabs. You can't take a big, long swing, because if you don't connect, you're fucked. But when somebody's got a knife or like that hook, it's an extension of his hand. You can move that so much faster than a big implement. What is he grabbing onto? He's gonna drown. Where does that room go? You could just be fucked if you go in there. That's like a storage room or something. You don't want to open... I don't think that's what you want to do. Or... it was barricaded and you moved the thing out of the way? I don't understand. Did she just move the barrel out of the way of the door so that he could open it? Why did she do that? I'm still befuddled by the moving of the barrel out of the way of the door. I get it if you're gonna go through there, but once you know he's trying to come through there, why didn't you put it back? Fucking MacGyver, Spider-Man, Freddie Prinze Jr. over here. What is this green shit? Is that mold? Is this where they store the fish with the ice? What is this room? Garbage chute? Yeah, ice, fish. Yeah, see? I know a little bit. I've seen Perfect Storm. Oh, she lost one of her shirts. Playing serial killer strip poker. Dude, your shirt's hanging from the other side. He's gonna know that that's where you went. What the fuck? More time running, less time covering tracks. His boat is only so big. If you worry about hiding, you get found. You worry about escaping, maybe you're okay. In the meantime, oh, you come up with a plan. I see. Who the fuck was that? Is that Sarah Michelle Gellar's? Who is that? So he's putting the bodies in the storage compartments of his fishing boat packed with ice like you would do with fish. He just always looks like a stressed out little kid with the facial expressions. That was a decent scream. It was believable. I don't like the deer in the headlights, though. Ooh, Mr. Fishing Boat Knowledge, flex nuts on you. Hoes ain't nothing but beaches and tricks. Suck on these nuts and lick on this dick. Oof. I told you, no sugar, no wheat, no dairy. You can have fruits. This is what happens when somebody sells you bad ecstasy. This is what you want to do to them. Ooh, trapped by the long arm of the law. Oh, fuck. He got to the hand to cut it off. So now he's gonna be a legit hook hand. He won't even need to pick it up and put it down. It'll be permanent. Do people with hooks for hands have fingerprints on their hook? Oh my god. I'm sorry. That was just such an absurd idea that I... Reminds me of like a Brody Stevens style joke. Rest in peace. That kind of tore me up when it happened. It was... The impact it had on me seemed to be far outweighed by the actual presence he had in my life. It was just for some reason that one hit me hard because he was the pushing positivity guy. I don't want to go into all that right now because I'll get all fucking sad, but I might on a future podcast. But if you've never looked his stuff up, look up Brody Stevens. I'd recommend watching the Joe Rogan podcast he was on. I think it's like number 424, where he comes out as 10% gay. It's just hilarious. He's quirky. It's just him at his essence. But that hook hands having a fingerprint is totally a Brody Stevens style joke. He had a joke about a car with a leather exterior. That's just... the kind of shit is hilarious. I can't remember if they... There's the hook in the hand stuck in the net. I'm pretty sure they don't find his body, but I'm also pretty sure he's not the killer in the next movie. Oh, rock and roll, yeah. And now she's all back to, she's got the proper skin tone, and she's wearing makeup and combing her hair again. Tits are still there. Oh, we're gonna have the... leave the door open to a sequel scene. God damn, that cleavage though. It's I'm sorry guys, I'm not paying more attention to the content. It's just like Jennifer Love Hewitt in her prime in a towel. I don't know. Not much else I could say about it. So she thinks it's over. This is exactly another year later. She's recovered from it. But she's received another letter addressed to her. Cliffhanger. Oh, it's an invite to a pool party. So they juke us there with the red herring, like it's gonna be I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. But it's not exactly a juke, because we're gonna go ahead and double down. So I don't know if this, at this point, if they knew how they were going to play it. I guess they wanted him to be alive still, maybe. But I don't think they go with that idea in the next one. If memory serves, the killer is supposed to be that dude's son, unless they're a tandem. I can't fucking remember. We'll see when we get there. Ooh! So it's a bullshit ending. It's meant to look like he survived and killed her there, but in the next movie we ignore that happened. It's like a dream sequence jump scare Friday the 13th ending, I guess. And apparently that is the end of the movie. That seems like we got there quick. No. Okay. So that was I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997. It is a generic 90s horror movie. There's nothing more, nothing less. The unique element was, like I said, the hook. They worked in some of the killer communicating, but only via writing, at least until the end. And the kind of playing mind games, hitting them with a car and then not killing them, cutting her hair. Those sort of fun. The killings were so-so. I did like the scene where he's carrying her by the hook. It scratched an itch, but it wasn't like a 10-year itch. It doesn't hold up like Scream or Halloween or any of those. It is a product of the time, I would say. So you had, like I addressed at the beginning, you had a lull in horror, a lot of franchises basically coming to an end, or at least calling it quits until a reboot. And in 96, late 96, it's basically 97, when Scream comes out, it's like it's like that really scratched an itch. That fulfilled a need that people didn't know they had. And when it was over with, they were like, I need to scratch that itch again. I want some more. And so companies started coming out with movies such as this, knowing they could make a buck. And we went and saw them. It's almost like when hair metal was popular in the 80s, hair bands. A lot of bands put out music and played shows and sold records and got on MTV or whatever with a music video that were straight trash. They were basically garbage. But everybody was so in love with hair metal at the time that they were just grabbing it with both fists. Just everything that they could consume that was hair metal got consumed. And you would be able to find an audience just because everybody was listening to that fucking music. That's kind of what we're getting into with movies like this, is you've got a broader scope of horror fans at the moment, so they're going to go ahead and just pump out some horror content and make the money while it's there. And that's kind of how they dry up the well with us horror fans. They almost overfeed us. And that's not to say that we don't get enough horror movies, or that we get too many horror movies. I should say, I definitely would love more horror movies, but I want more quality horror movies. So I would rather have 1 or 2 horror movies every few years that are just fucking riveting than have one good one come out and then we're going to get 25 shitty ones and we're going to make everybody lose interest in the genre, and we're going to have to wait for another good one to come out 10 years after that, and then we're going to go through that cycle all over again. That's the kind of shit that's like, I don't really watch modern scary movies. I don't go into them thinking that there's going to be anything original or scary about them. It's hard for me to want to do that. I'd rather watch an old one. Also, if you're going to make one modern day, you almost have to make it a period piece, because you have so many things involved with the internet and cell phone cameras and just the level of surveillance and reporting and communication that is available to us right now in this day and age is something that you really would have to work in the writing aspect just to circumnavigate in a realistic way. And we've seen it all. Like, there's only, with technology, we haven't got a lot of advances in ways for serial killers to kill people. It's all still kind of the same. There's only so many directions they can go with it, at least that we know of. I'm sure somebody will come up with an original idea eventually, but there's only so many ways to kill teenagers. You kind of exhaust it. So the gaps seem to be crucial in the build-up for more of those. Anyway, I appreciate you guys sticking through this and listening to my commentary on I Know What You Did Last Summer. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good shit. I'll be coming out with a review fairly soon. I'm recording this right now on Sunday night, so it'll probably be posted Monday early afternoonish, and I'll probably post a review for it either the same day, so shortly after this gets posted, or the day after on Tuesday. But look for that to be coming down the pipe. If you're listening to this, there are 2 forms that you could consume this in. You're either watching it on YouTube or listening to the podcast. So, in case you're unaware of the other platform, on YouTube, I am the Avarice Trading channel. Just look for Avarice Trading. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to know about the podcast, you can go to SoundCloud and look for Avarice Podcast, or you can look in the iTunes store, or for all the information, you can go to my Instagram at Avarice Trading, which is AVARICE TRADING. In my bio, there's a link tree with all the link buttons. My YouTube is there. The link to the SoundCloud is there. And the RSS feed is there. So if you want to capture the RSS, for anybody who doesn't know how to use an RSS feed or how to interact with my link there, you would right click on the button that says RSS feed and you would select copy link address. Then you would go into whatever podcast player you use to subscribe to podcasts, whatever downloader you use. I use Zune because I used to have a Zune back in the day and I've just stuck with it. Anyway, and you just paste that URL into there and then it'll bring up everything. So, until the next time, this is Devin saying I appreciate the fuck out of you and be easy. That was a shitty be easy. Until the next time, this is Devin signing off saying Be easy.